Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 619, Saturday exclusive trustee training mentality, elite trustee training mentality. Definitely excited about this episode. Definitely excited about people listening live, listening to replay. This is one of those episodes where we just even thought about it. We probably will most likely start doing presentations, live presentations, and uploading them. This is one of those things where we've done the episode, we'll reference it. It is the trustee training competency hierarchy. Very important for trustees to evaluate where they are on their trustee training program and just know where you are and know where you're going. So, we really wanted to do this episode because we hear a lot of excuses, a lot of complaining. These are from the non elite trustees, though. So when you talk about elite trusteeship, you're talking about trustees focused on privacy for the utmost. Appreciate Mississippi for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate Mississippi for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you're tuning in live, listening to replay from. Always appreciate it. So the exclusive trustee, elite trustee mentality comes down to the right now mentality, the protection mentality, the asset growth mentality. So we'll continue to pivot around those various subjects while a trustee is focused on surrounding themselves with the best. Now, trustees, if y'all having a hard time finding people to work with, it's because you're not focused on finding the best. When you're focused on finding the best, they have the time to help you get the job done. Because they know that you're going to do the work. But if you're not going to do the work, you're not going to have the best around. And you're going to have mediocre people. One of the mentors say you won't pick a team bigger than your self-image. So the only way to pick a team outside of your self-image and a bigger team, bigger meaning vision-wise, self-image-wise, you go find those players. So they say, oh, Trust Christian, where you find them at? You could dang near find those people through the airport, ladies and gentlemen. Find them at the airport. Mentors, they always recommend joining the club you can't afford. We thought about it the other day. Even if you don't join a golf or a country club, elite trustee mentality, just joining an elite gym, a health gym, a gym that costs maybe a couple $100, maybe not even a couple hundred, maybe just more than 150, more than 100. So you're looking at what people will call an elite gym. Oh, you're not spending $20 for a gym membership. You're not spending $50 for a gym membership. You're not spending maybe $80 for a gym membership. Oh, you spend $120 plus for one person, right? A month. It's an investment. So you invest in your health. The trust puts the trustee in position so it not only can invest in high quality health, it can invest in high quality relationships. The mentor said, join a club you can't afford. When? As soon as possible. It forces you to go in there with a business mindset. It forces you to go in there and say, okay, well, we can't afford it. We got to make it a point to get some business done so we can afford it. This is the difference between the employee and the trustee mentality. Employee mentality doesn't have anything to offer. Trustee mentality says, okay, I got to either sell a product or a service via an asset. That's that. Got to sell a product or service. Elite trustee mentality. You're building a team. You're surrounding yourself by the best. Key word is the best. It's just focused high level, the best. Nothing else but the best. Is it true trust Christian revolt? Is it true trust Christian revolt? Ladies and gentlemen, what y'all talk about? We sitting at the $2,000 conferences. We can tell y'all. We sit in their email threads. We are in contact with billionaires. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not in contact with billionaires, it's not elite trustee mentality. Elite trustee mentality is you rub shoulders with the people that you want to be or peer with or become or it is. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, Trust Christian Revolt. We seen them at the office events. They're at the family events. Yeah, so we see them. We're there. Are you there? The elite trustee mentality is being in the environments that say they're the best, so you can sniff out the truth. So you can sniff out who's the best. So you can sniff out who's not doing it. It's so called 8 billion people on the planet. Well, if it's 8 billion, you gotta weed out who's the best right now. Just Christian, why you keep harping on this one point? Because this is the difference maker. Y'all want to do a lot of stuff. Trustees come to the Trust Christian and say, "Oh, Trust Christian, I'm crying, I'm hurting. Please help me. I can't make a difference in my life. I've been trying to be a trusteeship, but I'm hurting." You're hurting because you're not surrounded with the best. You say, "Okay, how easy is it to get started to do this?" First thing you do when you're seeking out the best, you're going to seek out a mentor. We've had trust mentors all along the way. We still have trust mentors all along the way. Private mentors. We got private mentors. Dr. Bay is private. What does that mean? It means he trusts Christian. He own nothing, control everything. He understands there's no benefit in ownership. It's onerous. It puts an encumbrance upon the owner. Elite trustees, they always remember that. Elite trustees, they think about the downside. They think about the risk. A lot of people say, "Oh man, I've been programmed to think negatively, trust Christian and vote." That's the one thing that might come to your advantage is when you're thinking about an investment, you're not walking in with the rosy colored glasses on. You're walking in with the think downside mentality. You're thinking with the risk averse mentality, thinking with the risk assess mentality. We sat in front of investors, the elite. They tell you, trust Christian. We said, all right, we're about to ask them an intelligent question. That is, what's the what's one of the turnoffs when dealing with new investors, people such as yourself that may want to raise money, that may want to raise capital, that may want money from an institution. You say, oh, well, what is it that they now look, the banks might not care so much. But when you talk about private investment, oh, I want private equity. You think private equity isn't looking at the downside of them investing in you immediately? If it gets past the first or second tier, it's getting evaluated. The first or second tier may say, okay, we're not going to look at the risk, but they're going to look at the risk at one point. Now, the more sophisticated the investor, the sooner they're going to look at the risk. Okay, not just the upside. The elite trustees have this mentality. The elite trustees are, that's in the back of their head, that's in the front of their head, that's in the side of their head, that's in the centers. It's okay, what is the downside of this? Okay, so you gotta associate with the best. You associate risk, assessing risk uses. You assess the risk properly. And outside of assessing risk properly, here we go, is assessing the trustee's performance. Elite trustees have a weekly performance measurement. Now, it might sound like the hardest thing for you to do. It seriously may sound like it. Promise you. If you look at any elite performer, the more elite, the more self assessing. Self assessing is the weekly performance measure, the bi weekly performance measure, the monthly performance measure. That's the assessment. What's on the assessment? Well, do you have goals for the next week? Do you have goals that you were supposed to hit from the previous week? You're in the center. What were some of the challenges you ran into? One of the trustees the other day said, well, Trust Christian, can you give us a reading list? Well, we give you a reading list, first of all. A reading list has to be, first of all, we got trustees. They say they read the book, but they not doing it. So what's the point of reading the book if you're not going to do it? If the book tells you to do the process and procedure, and you're not doing it, you just wasted your time. It's no old trust Christian vote. We need a bunch of books. Give us the 100 books for trusteeship. No, it's not that. It's called there's a few books that have been the greatest of all time, and that's that. We talk about it with our trustees. Reading the E-Myth. Oh, I read the E-Myth. Yeah, but you don't have an exit strategy. Let's talk about it. You don't have extra. First of all, you're talking about self-assessment, but that's your exit strategy. We'll keep going with it. Y'all want us to talk? Because we can talk. We don't just talk it, we can walk it. First of all, like a business has to renew every year, the trust has to renew. Trusteeship has to renew. You're going to renew yourself as a trustee. Why? Because you're training the successor trustees to renew. Why? So they don't get stuck on stupid. So they don't get comfortable. There needs to be a forward outlook, whether it's years, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, maybe longer. A forward outlook that can be measured. Once that's measured, when you get to that point, you can say, okay, did we do it or not do it? That's elite trustee mentality. Oh man, here we go. Y'all say, oh, Trust Christian, how real is it? So we're sitting on the line with what y'all want to call the best. The best. The best. Fortune 500, the best. Okay. Fortune 500, the best. They focused on exit. They said, Trust Christian, 3% of the population writes their goals down. There's no way that this could be true. Because if it's true, that already lets you know you either gonna make it or not make it. How? Because the ones that's doing it, the 3% that's actually hitting their goals, they wrote them down. Simple as that. And he said, not only did they write it down one time, they wrote it down frequently, they looked at it daily, and they visualized it. He also said, put color to it. How do you put color to it? What is it going to look like? What is it going to feel like? What is it going to smell like? If you're going to be eating a great meal at your new house, at a new restaurant you want to go, or nice restaurants you want to go to, maybe a family member, maybe you want to take them out. Maybe you can imagine taking a trip, so you imagine flying an airplane. These are various different things that you do. You add a date to it, a timeline. It's funny because one of the mentors, indirectly, he said, Trust Christian, I've never hit any of my goals. Now, to the average individual, That sounds, how do we say this? That sounds like he's a loser. This man has $1 billion portfolio, assets under management. Is he a shark? He's a shark. When he said he didn't hit his goals, he caveated with, well, yeah, when I set my goal, I just didn't always overachieve him. I got close to him. He was like, I never hit the exact number, but I got close to it. I was like, oh, okay. Elite trustee mentality. He set the goal, he got close to it. Then he just reset the goal to a bigger number and he surpassed the one that he didn't hit the first time. That's where you are. So the self assessment is the trust assessment. How does the trustee gauge what they are supposed to be doing every single week, every single month, every single year? It's based off of the trust mandate. Oh, the trust says well, we're supposed to have $1 million in assets. Okay, well, we break that down per day. Literally, we're supposed to have $1 million in here X, Y, and Z years. See, trustees think they could talk that talk to Trust Christian, but they can't. They just be talking. They don't understand that wealthy people don't want to talk to them. They don't want to talk. They want to be educated. Wealthy people want to learn. They don't want to just talk. Oh, what are you going to do? I'm going to have $1 million in here. I'm going to have $10 million in here. Okay, well, you want to have $20 million in the trust account in the next 5, 10 years. 10 years. Even if you say 10 years, you could quantify that and how many days that is, and how many months that is, how many years that is. You could quantify it. Once you break it down, you see, oh man, we got to get to work when? Right now. We don't have no time to take off and say we're going to go on vacations coming up soon. We're focused on making sure that we have the asset numbers in place so when that time comes, we know the feeling of the outcome. See, trustees are caught up in sometimes trustees are caught up in these habitual cycles of average and mediocre because they're hanging around average and mediocre people. They're not even hanging around private people sometimes. You think you can mix and mingle with private people and you ain't ultra wealthy yet. Ultra wealthy people don't even mix and mingle with poverty based mentality people. Is it a sad sight? Sure. We were talking to this one trustee recently said, oh, it's sad that you don't have anybody that you can converse with about the trustee. Said, oh, it's not sad. It is sad. You in trusteeship. You should want to talk to other people in trusteeship. If you in the foundation, you should want to talk to other people in the foundation. You got to get a 5% away. What are you talking about? This is the mentality of poverty-based mentality. Oh man, I just want to go ahead and do it by myself. I'm a lone ranger. I'm a lone star trust Christian. It's so hard to meet other people. No, it's not. All you gotta do is go on the Eventbrite and look for galas. Are you going to the gala for your chamber this year? For the local county chamber, for the local state chamber? Are you going to the gala for the chamber this year? That's an easy one. Are you going to the RIA gala? The Real Estate Investor Association gala? Oh man, I didn't know where I need to get my face seen. Are you going to the mayor's gala? If you can get invited. Did you get invited to the mayor's gala? Who am I, Trust Christian? I just getting started. Who am I? I just got a little, maybe few assets. Who am I to know the mayor? First of all, for all y'all that want to say that y'all got some type of property and you paying property tax, how are you gonna come out of your pocket with property tax and you don't write the mayor a letter just saying, hey, just want to say, hey, we over here paying our property taxes. Just want to let you know we're good law-abiding citizens and we want to introduce ourselves to you because we're private. And we want to put you on notice that we're not actually driving, we're traveling. See the conversation, how you start the conversation, but who do you start it with? You started with the mayor. Is that Judge Christian, you giving out the free game over the internet? Is that what's the purpose of doing all that for? First of all, these are the people running the municipalities, the de facto corporate jurisdictions. Maybe they not private, but they the public chief officer. Oh, I'm gonna go do the discharge. I'm gonna do a discharge. I'm gonna get rid of it, write it to the CFO and all this other stuff. But do you know who the county commissioner is? Do you know who that is? Do y'all know who the county commissioner is? What's wrong with knowing that person? Oh man, I need to know what MJ stats was from '93. I need to know LeBron stats. I need to know what's going on in the news. I need hold on. I need to know what's going on in the election. But then there's going to be a county commissioner. There's going to be a mayor that's going to be selected for the jurisdiction, municipality that y'all paying property taxes in. And even if you're not paying property tax, you paying sales tax. Oh, you thought you got out of it? You paying sales tax. Who you supposed to talk to? The mayor, the county commissioner. So okay, now that's elite trustee mentality. Okay, we didn't need to know everybody. Oh, Trust Christian, what you mean? We didn't need to run out and know everybody in the world. No, you needed to know the mayor. You need to know their name. You need to know their office. Might want to pay them a visit. These are the municipal de facto enemy. Why would you not go meet your enemy? Go have lunch with them. Get close to them. Shake their hand. See how much they're in the system of the de facto system, the public system. See how programmed they are. Most of them are what? Lawyers. Most of them are lawyers. Most of them can talk the legalese. We talking to this one trustee the other day. Trustee said, "Oh, Trust Christian, you don't understand that they just talking the legalese. They speaking legalese." Okay, so they speaking legalese. That's elite trustee mentality. We were born speaking legalese. It's Latin anyways. We were looking at something the other day on the internet. This guy says, "Oh yeah, you should name your company after a Latin word." Ain't nobody naming their company after a Latin word, but do you go to the root of the language and do your best to go to the root words and do your best to get some solid derivatives? Of course. You go to the root of the language we're speaking. It's Latin. You go speak it. You go learn it. Once again, wealthy, elite trustee mentality. Trust Christian, fortunately, by the grace of Allah and the mothers and stars and ancestors, in middle school we learned that. Our parents put us in that environment to learn that. Just enough to get an idea of what Latin is. So you get a base in the language that you're speaking. Elite trustee mentality. That's why when we talk to trustees about getting the Black's Law Dictionary and recommending them getting the ones that are earlier editions where they can get uh, the Latin root words mixed in with the definitions, then you see the benefit of the fourth and fifth and third and whatever. Then when you get to some of the later ones, you say, "Oh wow, okay, they don't have the definitions up front. They don't have excuses. They don't have the legal maxims, which is usually Latin up front." Learn the legal maxims. Elite trustee mentality. Oh, Trust Christian, what am I supposed to read? Here you go. This the legal reading for everybody walking as a citizen of the states. If you a citizen or if you're private, you know the legal maxims. The legal maxims are in the legal dictionary. Why? Because you got a legal name. You don't need to call it your government name no more. You can call it your legal name. If you have a legal name, then you're supposed to know legalese. If you have a legal name, then you're supposed to know the legal maxims that involve the legal name. Simple as that. That's not too crazy of a stretch. If you are, because think about it. If you're born into a system that has chattel slavery, that has ignorant slavery, meaning that if you don't know something, you pretty much are in the system by default. If you don't know things, but if you learn things, you can get what's called out of the system. You can get out of the rat race. You don't have to work for assets. Assets can work for you. You don't have to be a liability. You could be an asset. Okay. That comes from trustees educating themselves, self assessing themselves every week. What were we supposed to do last week? What are we gonna do going forward for the next 7 days? A good 7 day measurement allow you to break. People talk. We were sitting in front of this one trustee the other day. The trustee says, "Oh, I gotta come up with a plan." No, you don't. You don't need to come up with a plan. You need to be crystal clear on the idea first. What is the number? What is the date? Once you have the number and the date, you just backtrack. Okay, I gotta work all the way back to this date where I'm at. Okay, now I gotta each day I gotta do something. What's the first thing I think I could do? Bam. That's called thinking. And then all we're doing is a process of iteration. Simple as that. Iteration, 100%. 100% iteration. Stay therapeutic in iteration. Let iteration be your therapy. Learning the thought process of iteration. School does not teach, public school may not teach iteration, but in the private, we teach iteration 100%. So the self assessing every week. What are the challenges we ran into? Okay. Those challenges that we ran into, did we come up with 3 solutions for each one? Okay, here we go. And this is something that once again, even as senior trustees, we add KPIs. Trust Christians added KPIs recently. We'll share some of those, but we'll share a lot of them because a lot of the KPIs, if you're assessing these things on a daily or weekly basis, you're gonna see and you're gonna see a level of detail. Usually what you're supposed to get from self-reflection is an assessment ability to say, okay, what do I need to change? A lot of people don't know what to change. They're trying to pull it out of the air what they think, whereas if they have actual tracking, they can. So here we go. What did you assess this past week? Elite trustees, they assessed their attitude. What was their attitude like? One of the mentors used to say, "Oh, Trust Christian, the trustee manual was pretty much a positive mental attitude manual." No, it's not. See, people think they need their emotions coached. No, what they need is to be armed with the knowledge, the attitude. What are you doing to cultivate your attitude? We'll give you some things to say, "Oh, Trust Christian, what's the attitude? And how do I cultivate it when I'm low?" Cause y'all think Trust Christian not human. Y'all think the elite and the best aren't human, but they are. Here we go. Here's how we cope with the ebb and flow, cause it's an ebb and flow. That's all it is. It's an ebb and flow. It's a high and a low, but it's never too low and it's never too high. Ebb and flow. One of the practices is watching a movie. You find movies that are inspirational, your wellspring movies. They help you keep your attitude in the game. Movies that inspire you, movies that keep your head in the game for the purpose. Maybe it was a movie linked to what you're passionate about, who you are, you resonate with. A lot of people like the longer movies, like a Gladiator or a Braveheart. But then you get into a lot of documentaries or biographies or different things like that. So those things you can use those things. That's just one tip, ladies and gentlemen. One thing that a hack, as people call it, is that you can use to fill up your tank when it's running low, to fill up your attitude bucket when it's low. Some people say you could take nature walks. Taking a walk, get away from your cell phone. These are things we've talked about this once again in the competency hierarchy video. Once again, these are things you can do to fill up your bucket for your attitude. This is just a KPI. What was your attitude like this past week? And we give a tip on how to uplift if it did get low. What was your effort like? Now, the effort comes from you being able to plan out every night in advance and say, what did I do? And once you're able to say what you do, then you know what effort is. Effort is the hard, concrete effort. Can you measure it? Can we measure effort? Yeah. Did we do this? Yes. Did we not do it? No. Okay. Bam. Do you want to That's how you know there's no competition. The competition is yourself. This is a hard reality for most people. Why? Because they're not really the best. They're not trying to be the best self. Instead of them trying to be the best self, they don't know who's the best, and it's no one outside of themselves. Instead of you focusing on just being yourself and being your best self. That's all we have to be. Okay. Student mentality. Elite trustees. See, this is where one of the mentors, we even heard him recently, said it, and we had to go back to it, and we got to stay disciplined on it. If anything, this is one of the ones that you really, the mentors say, you think about it. How much every day are you studying, and can you measure it? Can you measure it out? Can you write down, hey, I listened to this for 15 minutes. I listened to this for 7 minutes. I listened to this for 30 minutes. I read this for 30 minutes. This is in the elite mentality. Warren Buffett supposedly, if y'all Google it, y'all can see Warren Buffett says he spends 3 hours a day plus reading, and he says he wish he could spend more reading on studying the companies that he wants to invest in. He's investigating before he invests. He has a student mentality heavily. And so what are you learning to get better at your craft? What are you doing better to get better overall? There's different areas of your life that you can be better in. We were listening to something in people skills recently. Why? Because we were just like, man, we got to get back out here and deal with people, man. When you dealing with people, that's not you're not dealing with the money, you're dealing with the people. It's two businesses. It's the money business and the people business. You got to know what business you in. Are you out here working with people? Because if you're working with people, you want to invest in your people skill education. Just like acquiring money is a skill, so is working with people. So those are your strong four KPIs that we really just kind of blast out every single day, every single week, do our best to assess in. Then we got into some other ones that, you know, there's a mentality, oh, you gotta think positive, Trust Christian and the Vault listeners. Sure, everybody could say you gotta think positive. But what happens if you think negative throughout the day? How do you assess that? Well, one of the mentors said it's not about thinking more positive, Christian. It's just about thinking less negative. So we did convex that. We did, and so one of the KPIs is, did you complain today? Did you criticize today? Were you concerned today? Now, concern could be worry. Y'all could really look at that as an assessment point, mix that word. But these are all the C's. He gave it to us as C's. But if you say, well, what is concern? I'm not concerned. You could say concerned is a substitute for worry. Catastrophizing, which is basically just thinking of the end and thinking of the worst possible situation. And commiserating, sitting around with other people complaining about life outside of yourself, because you can complain by yourself in your head and then you could commiserate with others, and it's a whole fest. And so those are some of the KPIs that one of the mentors said for us to pretty much do. And it's just wild. It's just wild to know that, like, those things right there alone, if you minimize those things every single day, how much more relieved your life will be as a trustee. For these are the self-assessments. So see, we're talking about elite trustee mentality. If you're going to be the best, you're doing some of the things that some of the best are already doing. So it's easy for you to identify and for you to relate. See, it's challenging for trustees to relate to what the best are because they're not doing the best activities. But once you're doing some of the best activities behind closed doors, when you get around some of the other best trustees, the best in general, you're going to see that. You're investing in your private education. This is the Saturday exclusive training, elite trustee mentality. Some of the tools, some of the tricks, some of the dailies, some of the weeklies. Why is it so challenging? Because people got to get over their emotional holdings, what mentors would call baggage. Got to let go of the past and keep your head focused on the future. But it being the case, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Just some ideas when people talk about what's elite. If we're focused on being around the best, we're focused on being the best, we're focused on putting KPIs in place. We have a specific mentality. We've been trained into this mentality. We've been trained. No doubt about it. It's an everyday thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's business as usual. It's for the family estate. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, and replay. Just wanted to go over some of the elite trustee mentality. It's a bunch of trustees saying, oh, wow, I got to change my mentality. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. I know it's a mindset. Well, if you know it's a mindset, now you know the mindset of elite trustees. Elite trustees want to trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Elite trustees have a right now mentality. Do it right now. If you know you got to do it, write it down and do it. Simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. Elite trustees are focused. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, to replay. Now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Episode 619. Saturday exclusive training. Elite trustee mentality. Peace and joy. Hit that like and that subscribe.